back to Let's Play Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. I'm speaking quietly because, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, it's almost midnight here in the Deadfire archipelago. We did a little bit of exploring off-camera after our last episode in which we raided the pirate fortress Fort Deadlight. Fort Deadlight. We got our revenge on the brutal pirate Captain Benwith, who met an explosive end and a musical one. Our next stop is Neketaka, where we've been told to seek an audience with Queen Onikaza II. She knows where to find pillars of luminous Adra, the pillars of eternity, if you will, around the Deadfire. And if we can find those pillars, then maybe we can find the dead god Aethys, who is stomping around as a giant colossus statue, sucking up the souls of anyone in his path. So that's where we're headed next, Neketaka. I will say, before we get there, we are unfortunately going to be called into the principal's office. But there's nothing for it.
The ring of a bell comes to you on a cold wind. The ring comes again and again, until soon the air is full with the sound of 1,000 bells ringing all at once. You are alone. And then, you are not. An indistinct figure stands before you, flickering between forms like a fire-cast shadow. A fixed, taunting grin. Bottomless black eyes. A yawning chasm in the earth. The aspects of Berath, the Usher and the Pallid Knight, shift in and out of focus.
Rictus?
And at their back, 4 indistinct shades hover. You feel an eternity stretch out behind each of them, reaching back to places so distant and yet so near you cannot comprehend their size. The shifting image of Berath settles on the aspect of the Pallid Knight.
Watcher.
Hi.
Her voice is the discordant clangor of gongs struck out of time.
I tasked you to discover Aethys' intentions. Tell me what you have learned.
He's stomping around the Deadfire, yanking up souls like a giant Adra soul magnet.
The Pallid Knight knits her brows.
He does not seek to return to the beyond? Intriguing.
Her sickly pale skin pulls tight across the bones of her face, as if the shell of this aspect does not quite fit the impossible creature it contains. The figure nearest Berath dissolves and reforms in the image of a thin-lipped, ancient crone, whose face has felt the melting kiss of fire. The goddess Wodika strides forward.
Does Aethys frighten you, Berath? He should. Magran subdued Aethys' influence once before, and yet he returned.
Subtle exposition.
From out of Wodika's shadow shuffles a hunched, bald man you recognize as the god Scan. His skin is mapped with swollen lash scars, and breath whistles through the ragged hole in his face where his nose once was.
I think the gods all really need a dermatologist.
He does not speak, but stares up at Wodika with naked loathing plain on his ruined face. Wodika steeples her long, knob-jointed fingers.
We must annihilate Aethys now, before he makes a rash decision we cannot easily annul.
She casts a sly look at the Pallid Knight from the corners of her eyes.
A moon would do the job nicely.
Well, if you think that's the appropriate solution, I won't stand in your way.
As if you could stop me.
The figure beside the aspect of Berath flows forward in a swirling cloud of ash. The ash falls to the tiles and reveals a molten-skinned woman, leaning on a monstrous, wicked-edged broadsword. Magran's glowing lips curl in disdain.
We must find a solution to the problem of Aethys that is neither do nothing, nor destroy the world. I acted in haste during the Saints' War. You will not goad me into doing the same now. To move against him while his plans are unknown would be the height of foolishness. We must find wisdom in precaution.
What kind of precautions do you suggest?
Mogren looks at you as one might a wayward gob of spit on one's shoe.
Well, that's nice.
It is no business of yours what the gods decide.
Another of the silent figures steps forward, and the warm, golden light of a summer's afternoon spills across your face.
Let's all take a deep, calming breath. Perhaps cooler heads will prevail.
Behind Helia's words, you hear the soft coo of doves.
Aethys has been separated from us for too long. Isn't it possible he intends only to gather enough souls to reclaim his realm in the beyond? He should be welcomed.
You look up then into avian eyes. Through them, you see clouds of starlings converge and divide.
Okay, she's all about birds. Got it.
Scan shuffles forward.
Yes, yes. We should welcome Aethys' return to the fold. His gratitude we can leverage to cajole him into divulging his plot. Then, when he believes himself to be in our good graces, we do as Wetica suggests, and crush him into the earth.
Scan pauses, inspecting you.
Ah, and here is the Watcher who wiped dear, desperate Alice's mind. You could have let my followers help her kill the man who tormented her. But you did not. Curious.
If you say so.
Scan licks the ragged edge of his lipless mouth and grins, then turns to Helia.
I did not expect such a deliciously ruthless idea from you, Helia. I am impressed.
Helia's feathered crest stands on end.
You wretched little creature.
Attempting to end Aethys may only make things worse.
Your point is well made, little Watcher. If self-evident, Aethys has not been known to possess a vindictive nature. Indeed, he has occasionally been magnanimous to a fault. However, if we push him to the brink of reason, there is no telling what he may do. He is, as ever, unpredictable.
Something akin to fondness creeps into her voice. The pallid knight gestures for silence.
Aethys cannot be killed, but he may be subdued. Yet to do so will take immense power and time. Both stand in his favor.
Mogren grits her black glass teeth.
That is why we must ascertain his plans before he has the chance to put them into motion.
She begins to pace. Her steps leave little trails of fire in her wake. Mogren stops and balls her hands into flaming fists.
Even if we manage to destroy his current form, there is the possibility he could return, if he has not already absorbed all of his children.
Absorbed his children? I don't understand.
The pallid knight casts a cold, cutting glare in Mogren's direction.
Mogren speaks too freely. That knowledge is beyond your ken, Watcher.
Wotica waves the gods to silence.
Aethys gathers strength. His strength is a threat to us.
Her voice takes on a sharp, almost panicked edge.
There is no sensible answer to the question of a resurgent Aethys other than decisive, final action.
There's no cause to act now.
Your opinion is unasked for, but noted.
I'll
The
take it.
pallid knight says.
We will act when it is appropriate to do so, and not before.
The pallid knight steps away from the half-circle of assembled gods. She pulls herself up to a great height. The words she speaks next come not from her mouth, but from all around you.
Follow him, Watcher.
The black of the pallid knight's irises expand until her eyes are as dark and cold as the void between stars. She bends down and brings her ghostly face level with your own.
Your debt to me remains unpaid.
This is bullshit.
She stares at you, unblinking. like a needle drawn to a magnet. You are pulled toward her one compulsory step at a time. You blink open your eyes and find yourself on the floor of your ship's cabin, alone.
Goodness gracious. Let's have a look at our ability bar. So you'll recall that as the Watcher, we have some special abilities, such as Sympathy for the Lost. I think on a previous episode we talked about how we got that. Your dialogue choices talking to Aethys decide which ability pertaining to the Lost you got. We also got Mien of Death's Herald from that last conversation. So your dialogue choices, when you run into this Council of the Gods, who for some reason are discussing all their business right in front of you, while also saying, it's none of your business. You are a petty mortal. They seem almost insecure, to be honest, which is a little weird. I think those characters are pretty silly. Anyway, what we just did was balance our role-playing as a character who's going to pick clever and passionate choices with the gameplay choice we want, which was to get this perception boon. So the choices you make in that conversation, there are 3 categories. One is aggressive, one is sassy, which would have been my preference, and one is diplomatic. And if you want an ability that boosts your perception, which we just got, you have to make at least 3 choices that are diplomatic, which we did. So it's a bit of a balancing act. I don't remember what abilities the other 2 buff. It's like, it's like might comes from being aggressive. I don't remember what the other one is for being sassy, but it's not like one of our preferred abilities. We want perception and resolve. So we did what we did. And now we're in our cabin for the first time. This is a place, anytime you're out at sea, you can just come down here. You can come explore your own ship. I figured, since we're going to be brought here by events, we might as well wait for that. So we got a bunch of stuff in this container on our ship, including fragments of Blade of the Endless Paths, fragments of Whispers of Yenwood. Despite being utterly destroyed with the devastation of Cadnua, the sword once known as the Whispers of Yenwood has once again found its way into the possession of the keep's Road Warden, albeit in pieces. It would take a smith of some talent to reforge the weapon. With the right materials, however, perhaps the sword could become even greater than it once was. Ooh. Maybe if we go to Rivendell, they'll fix it for us. Letter from Offra. I'm not going to read all this. Offra's a character in the first game. She's trying to conceive a child. But the Hollowborn crisis is racking the Deerwood. Children are being born without souls. They're just little baby zombies. Offra wanted to get a potion that she was promised would cure her of her, inability to conceive a child with a soul. And of course that was a bunch of snake oil. And what we did was go ahead and just tell her the truth. So she just sent us a letter saying, thank you for that. That was good of you. And I think she sent us a gift to go with it. I didn't really pay attention. Let's have a look. Oh, the gods have blessed me with a son. He's healthy and strong and already so curious. I think that the reward is the letter. The satisfaction and warmth of knowing that you touched someone's life. That's why we do what we do. So I am going to take a minute to talk to our companions. If you don't like dialogue, with all the companions in a role-playing game, to just make sure that you've looked under every rock, so to speak, this just isn't going to be the playthrough for you.
Ship life sure is an adventure, ain't it? Just think of all the places we can sail to, all the sights we could see. This is nothing like being stuck on a farm, or cloistered in the back of a temple. Tell me what's on your mind?
How are you feeling? Have you suffered any recent nightmares?
They're there in my head when I sleep. And sometimes I can taste them on the back of my tongue like a smear of grit. Happens when I take in a particularly volatile soul.
She even eats grits. Just maximum south. What are you gonna do, Shodi?
Go madder than I already am? I don't rightly know. It's not like I can turn my back on my duty to my god, even if it kills me.
That's dedication.
I'm glad we talked.
Uh-huh, me too. Alright then. What's Eld Engrim got to say? No offense, Captain, but your gunners can't shoot for shit. Wow. Aren't you one of my gunners? I'm pretty sure I've got you as a cannoneer right now. Oh. Nope, that's his other job. Well, you're not any better as a doctor than Chitupek and Venezi are on the cannons. At some point, we're going to have to show off the ship-to-ship combat. I think it's very fun, but as I mentioned earlier, there's not a gameplay benefit compared to just boarding the enemy ships.
Thank you again for maintaining my story in front of Vanessa and the others.
You owe me, Aloth.
I didn't enjoy deceiving them, but it seemed simpler than the alternative.
Are you still thinking about Vanessa?
I realized there could be nothing between us. But it was nice to have a friend all the same.
I thought we were friends.
You stood with me through more than anyone I've ever known. But a lot has happened over the last 5 years.
Tell me all about it.
After we parted, I set out to destroy the Leaden Key.
Cool. Adair likes that.
It's controlled us for too long. I wanted to free Kith from it. So for 5 years, I've been tracking down Leaden Key circles, searching for the places where they operate in secret, trying to undo them.
Sure. Might as well start with the ones operating from crystal waters and sandy beaches.
It does seem idyllic, but the pamphlets fail to mention the worm nests and sea serpents. The task has been more difficult than I anticipated.
Wait a minute, there's worm nests and sea serpents out here?
I don't think I fully understood the weight of the decisions I would have to make, or the burden of living with them. It was much easier when I only had to follow someone else's lead. My father's, Theos's, yours.
Easy, sure. I led you right into the prison of the gods.
What matters is that you got us out again.
Yeah, that's true. I am pretty great. Aloth laces his fingers together, a familiar look of anxiety working its way over his face. Oh, he's always anxious.
After we defeated Theos, I thought the hard part of undoing his work would be tracking down the Leaden Key's members and operations.
Maybe he had an address book. It's too bad you burned his robes. Aloth gives you an appreciative smile, but his mind is clearly elsewhere. Yeah, no, relatable. People like to tell me jokes when I'm worried about something, and I'm like, hey, thanks. No, great joke.
Perhaps this would be easier with an example.
Do tell.
I went to a village in Old Valia, a run-down backwater of a place.
Hey, that's my home.
Aye, right home like it was.
Aloth's expression shifts as Isilmir briefly emerges. As I said earlier, Isilmir is a past iteration of Aloth's soul. She was a brash, hill-speaking elven woman who lived in Aedir long ago, and she awakened in Aloth's soul after his father attacked him and frequently got him into trouble with her cheeky comments and aggressive behavior.
Centuries ago, the Leaden Key had intervened to end some heretical cult. The details were lost, but what had endured was a practice of ritual bloodletting. A gruesome, pointless tradition. At every full moon, the villagers would feed the soil with their blood. No one, young or old, sick or hale, was exempt.
And you helped them, right?
That's where it gets complicated. The village priest administered the practice. Grim old fellow. Reminded me of Theos.
Wicked old bunbag, 'tis what the lad means.
He was a tyrant. I was certain that if the villagers were free of his influence, they'd be free from the bloodletting too. So I arranged for him to have an accident.
Okay, so you straight up did some regime change. Got it.
The old man died, and the villagers were terrified. They were convinced his death was an ill omen. They blamed it, and every other mishap that befell them, on their lack of faith.
Good job, dummy.
So they began bloodletting every week, turning on their neighbors for giving too little. Instead of a handful dying each year, a few perished every week.
And now you feel responsible, is that it?
I had to do something, didn't I? I keep wondering what I might have done differently, or how I could have known better.
I don't have an answer for that.
Then at least I'm in good company. I should get some rest. It's been a long day, and you've given me a lot to think about.
Oh, wait a minute. You still haven't told me what the Animancers have to do with any of this.
Ah, that. I'm looking for an old Leaden Key sect. I've found several references, but I want to be sure. Please, let me go over my notes again. Then I promise I'll tell you everything.
We'll talk more later, then. So the Leaden Key. I guess this is where I tell you what they are. Or were. I don't really remember. They were some kind of secretive cult pulling the strings around everything that happened in the world. Kind of like the Illuminati. I guess they had something to do with kind of preserving the relationship of mortals to the artificial gods created by the ancient Inquithans. So the Leaden Key has been around for thousands of years. And they're pretty evil. I think in the first game, the villain who we defeated was like the head of their sect. So there's some choices with. I think Aloth was secretly a member of the Leaden Key, but he kept that information from you in the first game. And then you find out, and you kind of have choices about how you want to handle it. Totally possible, based on the choices you made, that Aloth could be the head, the new head of the Leaden Key. Like he could have a totally different attitude about it, much like Adair's attitude towards the gods. So, you know, when we set our legacy, we made that choice that Aloth is a nice guy, fighting for freedom.
Hey, this brings back some memories, huh?
What are your thoughts on Aethys at the moment?
I want the destruction to stop. I want him to finish what he's doing and then go in peace. Only I don't see it playing out that way. If you like.
So Adair, tell me about what you did after we ended the legacy.
I like that feeling, knowing we'd stopped Theos. We were part of something big. That was something I never felt before, not even at war. Guess I went looking for it again. Not that I wanted to tangle with gods, but something smaller. Something I thought I could manage. There was that little town, Deerford, we passed through. Got hit real hard by the legacy.
The legacy would be referring to the scourge of Hollowborn, children born without souls.
I went in and asked their mayor if I could help, and he was real friendly. But then it turned out he was in that Scanite cult they have over there. And when I wasn't looking, he tried to knock me out with a garden hoe. Guess he wanted to drain my blood or gouge out my eyes with rocks or whatever it is they do. Didn't ask. Anyway, I came out of his house carrying his head, and well, I got to be mayor after that.
I'm noticing a theme here in our companions. Just everybody went to some village somewhere and murdered the guy in charge.
They didn't even want to do an election. I said, if you're sure, and they all nodded, kinda quick-like.
So how were you as a mayor?
Some of it I was good at. Welcoming people, getting them to settle there, keeping order. But there were other things I had no head for. Negotiating, settling arguments, saying the right things. I think I made a difference, but plenty of folks got hurt along the way. And I don't know if that was something we could have avoided, or if it was the cost of trying to fix things.
Really makes you think. Okay then. I will say, there's a habit in the from the writers of video games to just really question your belief in good and evil, right? Like, I bet you didn't see that coming, huh? It's not as simple as you thought. Everything's nuanced. Everything's complicated. You can't really change anything. It's a little tiresome. I don't think it's as bad at all in Pillars as it is in some other games. Because the truth is, like, you play through the story, you make things better.
What's a bilge swallow?
That's what be a bilge swallow, little lass. And it be a swabby fathom-headed enough to drink from the bilge.
You talk funny, Uncle Seraphim.
You know, lass, Each time you call me that, you be aging me 3/2 a year. If you be having a tick, Cap, I'll be thinking that, if I be dragging you into these depths, you deserve the full sounding.
This is about Romaro, I take it. I'm happy to listen.
When I were a wee swabby, fresh to the sea, it were Romaro that showed me the ropes and rigging. More than that, he, kept his weather eye open for me. The sea be a right poxy ore on occasion, and life aboard the Sorcerer, that and more. Malnage, our ship hunter, she were all, wet and bothered for doing me harm, and Romaro. He protected me. Mentored me too, learned me letters and navigation, handed down the Principe traditions. In time, we became close as kin or closer. And the Sorcerer, my family.
Were you romantically involved?
Why, Cap? You be feeling a bit of the old envy?
Not in the slightest.
Nay, we never shared a bunk. Not that I'd have kicked him out of a hammock, but, like I said, we be family. He never took advantage.
How did Romaro end up in trouble with the Principe?
Right, fantastic fucking question, Cap. Word out with mutiny. But I'll be putting about as much stock in that as a dockside doxy for manners.
What is a dockside doxy?
Well, no, I don't normally be singing no praises of veracity, Cap. But in the matter of Romaro, I'll be hunting the truth.
You told me a lot about the two of you, but not much about him.
Fair. He be of old Valian stock.
Just like
a
me.
good man and righteous. Not honest, of course, but honourable. Were our shipboard sawbones, more than half handy at it. More than one swabby behind the old salter to furl from the wheel.
Tell me about Malnage. Why did she want to hurt you?
Well, only knows, Cap. She treated me like my mere presence gave offence.
We've already learned a bit about her from a past conversation. Seraphin, thank you. I'm glad you shared that.
Aye. Do right by it, and I won't be regretting it. Ahoy, Captain. What can I do you for?
And we're back to the intro of the conversation. Let's get some brownie points to Seraphin and make a promise we couldn't possibly know that we'll keep.
Aye. When I were
tell
a
me
wee
about
swab
Romaro.
of sea be right poxy
Hey, I wanted
on
to just
occasion,
promise you.
and
Excuse
life
me.
aboard the
I know.
Sorcerer,
Wait a
that
minute.
and more.
We've already said this.
Malnage,
All
our
right.
ship hunter. She were all, wet and bothered for doing me harm. And Romaro, he protected me.
I promise we'll find him.
Thanks, Cap. I'll be holding you to it.
Neat. Tell me more about yourself, Seraphin.
On my first ship before the Sorcerer, they made me a rigger, barnacle scraper, and powder monkey. Every deadly job. They be hoping I'd buy the farm. I lived to disappoint.
We'll talk later, Seraphin. Hang on. I have more questions. Tell me about the Principe.
Ask away, Cap.
I'm gonna pretend I don't know who the Principe are.
Formerly the Principe San Petrena. The princes, without a home, They came from Grand Valia ages ago. Now they be the scourge of the Deadfire. More than that, ain't for the likes of me to say. Ask away, Cap.
Tell me how the Principe operate.
Raiding seafaring vessels mostly. Season ships cargo. Ships themselves if they be worth anything. If there be passengers of high berth, we be taking them for ransom too. Ain't squeamish about slaying, but be avoiding it when we can. Get yourself known for killing folk. They get more likely to fight you when you come for the gold. Ask away, Cap.
You seem to enjoy being Principe.
Aye, that I do, Cap.
Well, what do you like about it?
What not? Smell of the sea, creak of the rigging, blast of the cannons, rush aboard and a right piece of prey. A mug of spice rum in my hands and a bawdy song on my lips. A lad or lass in every port and another in my hammock. Be a pirate's life for me.
Yo-ho.
Ask away, Cap.
Suppose I wanted to enlist. How would I do so?
Enlist, Cap? We ain't a flog-stroking Rowettai navy. Twixt the seaworthy vessel and passable crew, you've managed yourself the hardest part already. Now you just need to be setting yourself to piracy, after you be talking it over with the Consuelo.
That sounds easy enough.
No, we ain't exactly a bunch known for housing hard-ons for hard rules. Ooh, ask away, Cap.
That's all I got.
Aye, aye, Cap.
Does that mean we get to be a pirate? Oh, we gotta change our ship's colors here. It seems to be an error. Ship name color. Let's have that in gold. Sail's primary color can be black. Secondary color can be gold. There we go. Now let's have a look at the tornado. Yeah. It's not a horse, but it is a ship. Oh, we could change our colors too. Well, if we're gonna be doing some piracy, and if you're very observant, you'll see now the flag flying from our mast is a different color. So we're half an hour into the episode. As I said, I did some stuff off camera, including some ship-to-ship, some boarding, some violence on the high seas, some plunder. That's helped us out with our stockpiles, our provisions. We got some more cannons out of it, either from looting ships we've defeated or finding them on shipwrecks. Which I think means now's a good time to show you some ship-to-ship combat. Oh, hey, there's Murky. I don't think Murky has... Let's find out. I don't think she's going to have a whole lot of dialogue for us. Because as I said, she's like a secondary companion.
Damn me, the cops run dry.
Yeah, she doesn't have anything to say other than wish that she had more booze. Oh, what's this? You've received an important missive from Captain Aldi's, presumably on a carrier pigeon. Let's see what she's got to say. So, you had a little run-in with Ben, and then you dragged it to my doorstep. Could have wiped your feet before you stomped in, but I digress. I know what you did, and I know who you are. And unlike my unfortunately block-headed second-in-command, I recognize a threat when it smacks me upside the head. So, this is me, Captain Aldi's, commander of the God's-damned New Blood Principe, leader of the second biggest fleet of pirates in the God's fucking Deadfire, inviting you, a terrifyingly powerful and strange watcher, to come and meet with me under the strictest parley at Fort Deadlight. Which is to say, I promise not to gut you when you arrive for dinner and drinks. Looking forward to having a little hearthside chat. I would like to offer you a partnership of the most glorious and goriest variety. I scratch your back, you gut my enemies from hip to jaw. We laugh at their deaths over a bottle of the finest rum. Oh, and when you come, bring some candied nuts. Your newest and dearest friend, Aldi's. P.S. This is not a trap. Fascinating. By coincidence, we are right next to this other ship, a merchant. So in addition to finding pirate ships, navy ships of the various factions, adventurers, if you want to really be a pirate, you could go up to these Deadfire merchants and try to rob them. I don't want to do that. That's not my style. What you can do is go ahead and just buy stuff from them. Not that there's anything I necessarily want here, but I just thought I'd show you. Can we find a ship with which to do battle? Ooh. Those 3 skulls on a sword mean that we can't take them. We might win in ship-to-ship combat, but more likely we don't. Now here's a Juana captain, Biakara. The Juana people, recall, are the indigenous people of the Deadfire. They're the island Almawa. There's another society, another nation. Am I going to say nation? I'm going to say culture. That's the word I'm looking for. There's another culture of Almawa who are not indigenous to the Deadfire, at least not, not exactly. That'll be the Royal Deadfire Company. The Almawa of Rawatai. We'll meet more of them later. But you know what? go meet some of them now. With great hostility. Oh, what's this? Bad news for me with my Principe flag. So that's cool. The Valiant Trading Company, they don't appreciate pirates preying on their ships, and I just so happen to be flying a pirate flag. So you see, that ship chased me. They wanted some. They wanted a piece of me. I'm not sure we've talked about morale yet. You can see the morale on the ship is very high. It's difficult to not keep the morale high. It's so incredibly easy to keep your crew happy. You could use food and drink that people like. You know, you can say, hey, instead of hardtack and water, let's have some fresh fruit and grog. You know, ale. Well, like, I guess that doesn't help it. I guess ale's not that good. Whatever. Rum. The crew would love it. You also can just win battles at sea. And that's one of the things that we did off camera, was go find some easy prey, wreck their shit. And our crew is inspired by triumph. They'll subsist on hardtack and water if you bring them victory. Which we're about to do again. The other thing that's tricky is if you try to, you know, click on an enemy ship with the idea that you're going to just chase it. Sometimes, I mean, clearly that went correctly, but that's, you know, we are now chasing this ship. Sometimes it actually just sends you to a spot on the map that you clicked. Whatever. I guess Seraphim is our ship hunter, so he's probably the reason why we know where this guy is. Ah, now he's seen our pirate flag flying, and the Royal Deadfire Company don't like pirates either. But in this case, we're not going anywhere. Bring it on, bitch. Okay. A 6th level fighter. He's got 10 crew. What I would prefer to do is board the ship, because then we'll get more, then we'll get a little more stuff. So I think what we're going to do actually is show off some naval combat, because it's fun. That's the thing. Naval combat, I think, is fun. Again, the game was criticized. People felt like this was underdeveloped. And one of the issues with it is that, again, there's not a great incentive to do it. It's better to board the enemy ship. But we're gonna go toe-to-toe, exchange some cannon fire, and short of destroying the enemy ship, which we probably will do pretty easily, but we're not going to. We're going to board it pretty soon. So I'm going to pause the recording here, and I'll be back. I'm back. The crew of the early muster spring into action, racing for their stations. The early muster will be the enemy ship. They won the initiative roll. They get to go first. They come to an abrupt stop in the water. They've lost the wind. Let's have a look at their ship. The type of ship that this guy is sailing has cannons in the front. Unlike almost any other ship, such as ours, where the cannons are facing on the side. Think of it like the difference between a person's eyes and a bird's eyes. Kind of. That makes sense. So, a deer wooden hognose cannon. The ideal range is 150 to 400 meters, and the enemy is 376 meters from us. They're facing us, and they've stopped. Almost guarantee you, on the next turn, they're going to go ahead and fire their cannons. So the way this works, you can turn your ship, you know, port or starboard. You can jibe, do a little 180 turn. If you want to flee, you can do that. If you want to... What does give no quarter charge? Let's find out. So I guess what this would do is actually close to board immediately. That's interesting. I didn't know you could just give an order and do that. We might try that in a minute. If you want to fire your cannons, you got to be facing the right way. So we'll have to turn port to port or starboard. And you'll be more accurate if you hold position. You'll be harder to hit if you're moving. So full speed ahead gives you a defensive bonus. The other thing to think about with getting hit, like you could... I think there's a brace command that isn't available to us right now, but you can basically tell your crew, like, you know, hang on to something because we're about to get shot. How do I put this? If your vessel is facing the enemy ship as ours are, and you're presenting a smaller profile, it'll be a little harder for the enemy to hit you, but if they do hit you, then you're enfilade. They get a raking hit, and it does a lot of damage. If we turn to the side, we'll present a fatter profile. It's easier for them to hit, but the shot will go straight through one side of the ship and out the other, doing less damage than it would if it were a raking hit. So there's risk-reward there. Of course, the real objective is to shoot them. So we'll turn to port. The enemy crew scurry to their stations in preparation for maneuvers. The opposing vessel maneuvers to bear down on you, aiming its artillery squarely at the Tornado, our ship. The distant thunder of cannon fire echoes across the sea. They hit us, doing 4 damage to our hull. How dare you, sir? Soon it will be our turn. Hold position. The crew scramble to take in the sails, bringing our ship nearly to a standstill. What will the enemy do? They are sailing to get closer to us. Let's fire the starboard cannons. Because the enemy's moving, that gives us less of a chance to hit, and our cannoneers are novices. They have some learning to do. Wow. Okay, we lucked out in our dice rolls, because we not only hit with both raking hits, doing plenty of damage to the enemy hull. That puts their health at 41 out of 60. Once again, my goal here is to not sink them. I just wanted to show off the ship-to-ship combat. These deer wooden hognoses have a short reload time. They're kind of your basic ass cannons. They're not the greatest, but they do reload quickly. So the enemy has one, and he wants to take another shot at us. Let's give him a less easy target to hit. He's still got a hit. All right, it's worth a shot. Let's close to board. I think that's enough of that. We'll get back to... Ooh. On second thought, we'll take some ship damage if we do that. My experience has been, if you follow that process to board, you take more damage than if you actually just sort of manually sail in to face them, which we're going to do. Turn to starboard. Hard to starboard, helmsman. The enemy is jibing. Are they trying to run away? Can't shoot us facing that way. I think they know what's going on. Full speed ahead. I wonder who's faster. When you win the initiative roll, your ship speed is higher. So instead of 65, I don't know, what's that, meters? It's got to be something bigger than a meter. Anyway, it's 60. It was 65, now it's 85. So full speed ahead. The way to board an enemy ship manually is to get within the range that you'd be able to reach them in one move. And then instead of, you have a choice to ram them if you want. Both ships will take damage. It's kind of fun, but there's not really much point to that. You can just board them, which is what I'm going to do. The enemy has stopped. Why would they do that? They do have a backwards-facing ship. Backwards-facing cannon. Ideal range is 150, so we'll just we'll duck in under that. We're not quite close enough to board them on our next turn. The opposing crew scramble across the deck as their captain orders them to new stations. So instead of shooting at us, he's shuffling his people around. I'll say that sometimes the AI is not very good in ship to ship. They make decisions that make no sense. Let's go ahead and, I don't know, full speed ahead. Now they're jibing to face us head on, but it's too late. Time to board. This might be a tough fight, given the difficulty level we're on. We have 1 level on him. We're 1 level better. He's going to have, I think, 10 people to fight with, and we haven't recruited everyone there is to recruit for our party. So we might be outnumbered. We'll see how it goes. I think the enemy captain is also a fighter for what it's worth. Just like a dare, or half of a dare. You shall make a fine prize, says the Rowatayan captain. Alright, combat has begun. We're outnumbered. Here's Murky up here. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I leveled her up off camera, so she's no pushover. The other sailors on your ship, like Chitupek, Irena, whatever, Eld Engrim, they're randomly chosen for the fight because we don't have enough party members to fill the sort of slots that they would take up. So you can't equip them, you can't decide what their armor and weapons are. Presumably they level up as they get more combat experience. And half the enemy are frightened of us because of my infamous reputation. So, let's rush forward into combat. I'm going to have Aloth use Middleletter's bounding missiles, because that'll hit multiple enemy targets without our having to figure out like where are they going to wind up when the lines start to form. And we'll see if we can get a good use of Fireball from Aloth momentarily. I'm going to have Shodi run forward, Adair run forward. We're going to try to get a situation where Shodi can give a dire blessing. Pretty similar to Blessing from D&D, just, you know, makes it more likely that you're going to hit. So we've got a pretty imbalanced battlefield. You can see on our left and their right, our people are pretty badly outnumbered. Their captain's up there, although he's chicken shit at the moment. Eld Engrim's probably going to get KO'd. He'll be fine. He'll come back. That tough old bastard. I don't know where Murky went. Where'd she go? Maybe she jumped overboard. Oh, she's so small, she's hiding behind the giant Rowatine Ranger here. Very alliterative. Let's get that dire blessing off. We'll accept that Aloth might not get it. I want to make sure everyone does get it.
No.
Okay, I think Seraphin's going to try some crowd control. That's fine by me. Oops. I just broke his concentration, I guess. I'll have Adair run. Diego run forward. I want them to stay within the radius of this blessing, which, you know, casting spells takes time. Good things take time. Now Adair's just standing there like a dummy, and he still hasn't got the blessing off. Okay. I mean, I just don't want to miss the... There we go. The enemy's coming to us. Just like I drew it up. Rowatine Fighter has good armor. So I want Adair to try an ability that'll penetrate the enemy armor. Crippling Strike is great. Interesting. Mead of Death's Herald, this Watcher ability. I think you can give yourself a perception buff. Can you give your friends one? I don't think so. I think you might. I think if I use that on a team member, they'll be frightened. Which would be pretty funny. All right, the cast is off. Now we're free to run wherever we want. Where's he casting that fireball? It's not really a great spot, I don't think, for Aloth to cast that. You could interrupt the Chanter, maybe. With that level 1 Thrusting Lance type spell. Here's another Chanter. We're gonna mess him up. We're gonna ruin his day. Okay, Shodi's charging forward. What do we want her to do? Cast a spell, get in melee. I think melee is just fine. She's gonna use her swift flurry of blows ability. Are enough enemies gathered up that it's worthwhile? Should we fireball him? Let's give it a shot. I'll have him run a little.
That ain't not my thing, savvy?
Seraphin's telling us he doesn't know what the fuck to do, even though there's enemies right in front of him. How about a barbaric blow? Sock it to him. I just think a lot of Shodi's best abilities are worth saving. You know, she's got some heals. It's just there's no need to waste them. That's how I see it. She can't get through. All right. She'll melee. This fireball might go to waste. Yep. Well, we'll get to him. At least it looks pretty. Oh no, Chitupek. The game's not too hardcore. If your sailors go down in a fight, they straight up will not be dead. Like, oh, Eldengrim, he got cooked. All right, but he'll be fine. He'll spring right back up when the fight's over. Okay. I'm gonna ask Aloth to auto attack. Maybe some fear? No. Offense is our best defense right now. That's just wiped out. Oh, that's the enemy captain. Mixing it up right in the middle of us. Kind of letting him be a tank for the rest of his crew. Maybe we should use some abilities on him. Really mess him up. What else can we do?
I need a drink. Can't hardly see.
Murky's going down.
Fair?
Yep. Charnu takes a licking and keeps on kicking. Sort of. We hit him harder. Yeah, once again, we're really letting him tank us. But we've almost got him down. There's some trouble. What just? Oh no! What was that? Ah, great. Seraphin's Wild Mind gave us a random, very negative effect that KO'd KO'd our hero, and also basically KO'd Seraphim. And he killed the bad guy. Okay. That's one of the issues with Seraphim. There's not a lot of good trade-off for the fact that he might just accidentally kill one of your party members.
This is futile!
But it happens. That changes the tenor of the fight. We got the enemy captain, but
Oh, I'll be sick from feeding the fishes.
yeah, we're in trouble. I don't like this situation. I don't know if Seraphim can get his self-heal off in time. Probably. What can Aloth do? Can he get 3 of them in this AoE? No, he can't. Okay. They're all pretty high in their health. How about a bomb? Ugh. penetration does he have with Scepter? Not great. 8 against 9 for this guy. Does the Scepter do corroding damage? No. Blunt and slashing. Piercing is what we need to get these guys. Okay. Should probably just go after the sailor.
Yeah.
Okay. Second wind for Seraphim, and he's still real low on health. I guess Murky survived up there. How about another heal? For our battered and bruised party. Alof doesn't have great choices for 2nd and 4th level spells for this particular situation. I guess Combusting Wounds in theory might be okay. It's not always clear to me how great it is. We're not making a lot of headway on offense. Except, I think Alof took out, cool, he took out from range the sailor he was going after. Irena's just over there with the crossbow. Presumably she's using it. What else can Alof do? Did we even get him with Combusting Wounds? He missed with both of them. Great. Try again, I guess. 50% chance to miss. Maybe that's not the right spell for these guys. Not sure how this is supposed to work. Minor Grimoire Imprint. You can cast it on an enemy, but what spell will it pick? Guess we'll find out. Seraphim wants to enrage again. I guess he just missed. I don't even know. Oh, it steals a level 3 spell. Well, okay, this guy doesn't even have spells. Now we know. Now we know what it does.
That's not very helpful.
Yeah.
Once again, we're coming out on top after an ugly fight.
Yeah.
Hooray! Victory is ours. And you know, we couldn't have murdered a nicer crew full of colonizing bastards. Look at that. A bunch of our crew gained a rank. And we get lots of money. Some fine arbalists. Cool. Oh, look at this. Lots of +1 swag down here. The path to economic prosperity in the Deadfire is most definitely piracy. I gotta say, it's a great way to, yeah, on a playthrough, if you want to really get established, get lots of money, level up before you're facing story quests. Running around knocking out ships is a great call. So our crew has leveled up. Rum Dum Brigatti was once a lowly deckhand. Now he's a 3-star deckhand. I'm afraid no one will ever reach 5 stars because there is no such thing, but everybody's leveling up. A few of our people have 2 skills, and so I want them to get balance. So we're going to shuffle people around. I think Beodil's going to take a break. I want him to be able to be a bosun if the situation calls for it. Irena, get some deckhand experience. Both our current deckhands are kind of one-man, they only do one thing. That's okay. I'm gonna give one of them a break. Yeah. Tupac can be a deckhand. Maybe Aura can go to the bench. We want Eld Angrim to get a chance to be a cannoneer. Isn't there someone else who needed that experience? I guess not. Who could be a helmsman? There we go, Krieth. Oh, jeez. Then we don't have a navigator. Okay, well, we'll worry about that off camera because we're at the end of the episode. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time when we finally go to the big Koiki, Neketaka. See you there.